This week we're organizing all of my books as to be read and have read. So let's hop right in. Part of the reason that I wanted to organize my book collection this way is because I have an entertainment center that divides things up quite nicely. I also wanted to be able to reference things in videos in a way that made sense in my head, but also it was difficult to find things based upon what I had and hadn't read. I tend not to keep books that I have read, in part because I kind of come and go with books quite frequently. So I'll read something, and if I bought it or if it was a gift to me, I don't feel necessarily bad about donating it. But I tend to hold on to the books that I bought and then not read because of the obvious reason I haven't read them yet. But the collection of books that I have kept over time that have been books that I've read and loved and referenced over and over again are things that are fundamental and kind of instrumental to my life. So my John Green book collection, some gifts and mementos, reference books, and then I have 2 copies of Catcher in the Rye because I went on vacation last year and desperately wanted to read Catcher in the Rye and had not brought it with me, and it made sense in my head to just go out and buy another copy of Catcher in the Rye. I also have and own a lot of graphic novels, at least a lot in my head. So I have 6 or 7 graphic novels. I have a good chunk of Gretchen Green's books. I have Elizabeth Gilbert's nonfiction books, but not her fiction books. And then a recommendation from Anthony Bourdain called Grand Forks, which is a nonfiction narrative of a woman who lives in Grand Forks, North Dakota, who writes food reviews. And that blew up and was very popular as a kind of joke on the internet for a while of, oh, haha, look at this woman who is reviewing an Olive Garden. But in reality, that Olive Garden was the culture there in that town, and a bunch of chain restaurants was the culture there in that town. I've also noticed that in looking at the books that I have purchased that I have not read, in part it's because those are impulse purchases, and then a good chunk of them are from little free libraries where I brought a book that I had enjoyed and loved and left it at a little free library, and then once I left it there I picked up something else and then just kind of forgot about it. Just looking at the spread between nonfiction, fiction, and then young adult, I seem not to be buying and keeping a bunch of young adult fiction, which I'm a little surprised about because I do tend to write in that genre. So the ones that I have not read are reference books that I'm using for just kind of to go back to and look at. The adult fiction is very much a set of impulse purchases, and then the nonfiction segment of that shelf is books that I've either, again, received as gifts or things that I've made as impulse purchases because I saw a bunch of people online reading them. In total, I did count up the total amount of books that I have in my home, and that number lives at around 80. There's a few other books on other shelves that I would not consider like reading books. They are more collection pieces, like a vintage guide to traveling around Paris. It's from 1919, and I'm never going to pick that up and flip through it because it is kind of fragile. And then there's just some other like travel books that I picked up on vacation. But this is the final result of my book organization project. That slide was books I haven't read, and this one is books I have read.